don't know that we got questions.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right.
Well, we don't know about the questions if you did.
We don't know about the questions either, so.
Well, I usually just send them just because people get a little nervous about what they
I am not usually very comfortable being like, can I pray for you? Or, oh, we need to pray about this right now, or anything. It's like, I'll pray and I'll talk to God, and that'll be like when I'm by myself, and that's how things go. And I have found myself over the last 3 years, I pray, not all the time, but it's getting closer to that, and I'm not embarrassed to ask somebody if I can pray for them or with them. And I have some non-Christian friends who, you know, I love dearly, and they go through all kinds of things. And it used to be really embarrassing to say, oh gosh, I guess I can pray for you about that, like, oh. And now my thought is, you know, I don't care that you don't know who Jesus is. I don't care that you don't love him. I need to pray for you because he can handle this and we can't. So I think that's been the most surprising thing, is I have grown, I think, in boldness.
Mm-hmm. So I really like, I love going and talking to people and talking about something deeper than sports or something really superficial. And so at most churches that I'd been to before is like I was bouncing off all of these interactions, and I'm trying and every 10th interaction, then I would start to get beneath the surface. And it was, it was kind of like a drug for me coming into the village, because I come here and then I go deep, and then I come here and we talk about something meaningful, and I was meeting all these men who were so cool and that were like and are my heroes, and they deeply love Jesus and they deeply love their families, and it was really neat to see that they were awakened to the relationships around them and willing to really see me and talk with me and ask me questions, even while they're sitting attending to their 2-year-old making a mess on the floor. So they're both literally sitting in messiness while they engage in my messiness. So that was just really fun coming in and finding a lot of people who work in technical fields and engineering, and getting to have interactions there with, okay, I've talked to a lot of people who love Jesus, and I've talked to a lot of people in my technical line of work, and I haven't gotten to talk to so many people who are interwoven into both. So that was really exciting and enjoyable.
I didn't come to the village until we were either almost engaged or engaged. Oh goodness, and I walked in and I went, oh no, because the village at that point encapsulated everything that I did not like about churches. I had been going to an Anglican church, and it was very formal and very structured, and it was where I was like, oh, this is where I meet Jesus. And so I walked in with all of the couches and all the artwork and the music, and I just went, nope, no, this is not for me. This is not my place. And I'm really glad that we are here, and that David made the choice for our family to come here, and that I was able to follow him in that, because God's really blessed our time here, and my time here, and I've seen my Christian faith grow and Change in ways that I wasn't expecting.
So one of the instances in particular that I went through was I was journaling through past experiences of where I felt like I had this experience and I didn't encounter God in it, and I was led to have a really deep, meaningful surrender towards God in those experiences. And in reading that to a group, Mike Wise was in that group, and as I was reflecting and sharing what I'd been going through, he was sitting back and he said, God's gotcha. He's not letting it go. And it was it was a profoundly different experience from before, where I'd always felt God's presence, but I wasn't convinced it was a good thing. It always felt like more like God was on my back and I need to just get him off so I can actually do the things that I want to do. And Mike expressed that in such a good way, and it resonated with my soul and helped me to see, wow, this is really good that God's not letting me go. Yes.
It's a cute story.
Right.
It's very romantic.
So when I was 7 or 8 years old, we were homeschooled, and Lauren's parents taught at the high school behind our house. And so there was this little blonde girl who was reading books in the playhouse in our backyard. And she liked the double stuffed Oreos, and there wasn't much else that I knew or learned about her. And a couple times I worked up the courage to promote conversation with her, and so we had some very frank, matter-of-fact conversations. And then
David was older than me, so he was scary.
Yes, I was a year older, almost.
Almost.
So then 20 years later, we hadn't talked, we hadn't been in touch with each other, and I had a dream about Lauren Cooney, and I met with her in the dream and interacted with her and really hit things off. And then she said she didn't remember me in the dream. And then I woke up and thought, well, I gotta find where this girl's at. And so I looked her up on Facebook, and she still had the same last name. And so I went through several sleepless nights of trying to decide how best to interact in a non-creepy way with her. And finally I requested her and we started to interact. And of course I was starting to talk to her during her first week of teaching.
Yeah, first week of school.
So
It's a terrible time to start a conversation.
So she didn't respond to me on Facebook for a week while we were messaging, and I thought I had a little personal funeral for the relationship. Thought, okay, well, this is over. And then suddenly she came out of nowhere a couple weeks later and said, oh, hey, I'm in Tucson if you want to get coffee sometime. And so we got coffee and we talked about Lord of the Rings for 5 hours, and
That's pretty much.
it was awesome. It was great. And then we had,
And then he left and he didn't ask for my phone number,
I didn't,
so I sent him my phone number.
because we had Facebook. I thought, well, we can, anyways. So we had some long distance, Tucson to Phoenix interactions, and I had tons and tons of anxiety about it, and I thought that she wasn't interested and that she was gonna kind of drift away. And so now when I hear her text tone, it still kind of brings a little bit of that emotion back, because it was like, oh, don't stop taking me on this roller coaster. Are you gonna text me back or not?
I didn't know that.
And 4 months after that, we kind of talked about potentially getting married, and we got engaged, and then we're married, I think 14 months after my dream, yeah.
Yeah.
So just how did you feel about somebody telling you that they had a dream about you? And
Oh, it was so funny. Oh my goodness. Let's see. God knows me very well, and he knows that I am thick. And so when it comes to knowing what he wants for me, I've asked him, and he's always been very gracious in closing every other door and making the one door that I can walk through very obvious. And I'm so grateful for it. And so I've been praying because, I wanted to get married, that he would just stick a neon sign over this guy's head and say, this guy. And so David tells me, oh, well, gosh, I had this dream about you. And I went, no, it's too obvious. It was our second date. It was like, no, God, that's too obvious. And yeah, so it was not creepy so much as just sitting there going, oh, I think I'm gonna marry him. Oh gosh, okay. No, that can't be what's gonna happen. And it was very much what was gonna happen.